you say you discovered, then what? Walk us through the evolution. You find this, and then
Yes.
what?
So once I found it and I saw the initial reports that I read, which was done from Scripps Research down in Jupiter, Florida, they compared, and this isn't marketing, this is their medical research. They compared it to morphine without side effects or without risk of addiction. That was in 2011. So then I followed the evolution of science as it was happening with Conolidine. And what later on was figured out is that Conolidine attaches itself to a pain receptor that we now know as a scavenger receptor. So we used to think there was 4 receptors in the brain. Those are the 4 that things like OxyContin, morphine, these different painkillers will attach to and give you relief. Well, what they figured out was you have a 5th one that's robbing your body of your natural endorphins. Now, your endorphin flow is essentially your internal painkiller. In fact, the name itself, endorphin, means internal morphine. That's how they came up with the name. It's the way our body naturally kills pain. The problem is, as we age, our endorphin flow gets more and more robbed by the scavenger receptor. So if we're 8 years old and we fall off a bike, we can get right back up and we're fine the next day. At 18, at 28, 38, 48, and keep going as you get older, it gets worse and worse, where if you have an injury at 50, you might never recover from it. Right? You're always in.
Is that a hint, Clint? Is that a hint? I need to be more careful.
No hints. Just saying that's the reality for most Americans. I mean, I'm 42 years old. I face the same thing, and so what this does is allows that endorphin flow to get back to normal. So within 7 days, Conolidine totally covers the scavenger receptor, and all of a sudden, your 4 main receptors are now receiving endorphins like they're supposed to. So it's the first ever pain relief supplement, essentially something you take on a daily basis to enhance your endorphin flow. And when you do that, it's like dialing down a stove, dialing down your pain dial. All of a sudden, it goes from something that's limiting you every day to you feel better because your body's dealing with it and you're not inebriated.
Do doctors know about this? Like, why wouldn't my doctor, it's funny. I know people who go through surgery. And these days, right, you probably know some of them too, you go through a surgery and they're very cognizant of how long they keep you on, like an oxycodone or something, because
yes.
Okay, why wouldn't they just say now, hey, we know about Conolidine? Where are doctors in this? Are they saying, hey, we now know about this product that Clint has brought forward?
So luckily, the ones that now do know about it are gathering around it and starting to tell their patients about it. But again, Sean, remember, they have to be very careful because their licensing is all based around pharmaceuticals. So they're truly afraid of losing their licensing by telling people natural solutions that exist because they're kind of inside the system of pharmaceuticals.
So if you're not, look, can we bottom line this? If you're not listening to this right now, the odds of you, or I know you probably have many other outlets that, you talk to that I came across you, but like, you're not going to find out about this by talking to your doctor and saying, God, I'm a little concerned about addiction issues. Or God bless, I'm sorry about your mom and your situation.
Thank you.
But you know what I'm saying with respect to drugs. And I think that unfortunately you saw it firsthand. The trade-off sometimes is, yes, the pain went away, but now you're out of it, right? That's why they always tell you can't drive. It sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you take Conolidine, it's not affecting your mental state.
No. In fact, it actually increases your well-being. So if you've ever had like a runner's high, that's like when you go out and you do activity, all of a sudden you feel like you catch a second wind, or I call it the Superman effect. All of a sudden you feel great. That's your endorphin flow. So you don't feel high, or you don't feel weird, or you feel focused and a great sense of well-being. That's what it does for you.
Just the thing that's so fascinating to me is that we have an answer out there. It's the opposite of what's going on. And I said this a while ago, but my wife gets a kick out of the fact that I'm like getting all my medical advice now from Instagram. But I feel like on social media, it'll say these dyes, you mentioned this a moment ago, these dyes are banned in other countries. These preservatives aren't allowed. All of this EMF radiation coming out of your Bluetooth stuff is causing, and yet no one from the government is either helping you understand that. This is the point that I make to her, is that, okay, I may not get this, but I'm not getting it from my doctor and the FDA and the CDC and all these people. No one from the government, the NIH, is telling me the bad thing. It's until I stumble upon Clint and hear about Conolidine.
You're totally right. And luckily, I've been able to find outlets like yourself that, are reporting newsworthy things that need to be discussed, because most of your mainstream media, they're still controlled heavily by pharma. So it's my opinion that this should have been on every major news network all across the country when this was discovered. I mean,
it's sort of like this gets back to so many things that are happening in the government these days, which is why isn't somebody, okay, so let's be clear. Doesn't have a mental effect, right? You could still drive a car or do whatever. It's probably a heck of a lot cheaper. It doesn't have addictive qualities to it. I mean, it's like, what is going on that is causing people not to highlight this? And you do wonder about the collusion that's happening between all the aforementioned, big pharma, government, big food.
Yep. Yeah. And really what I've come to believe is it's an entire system. So what happens is when you look at the Food and Drug Administration, you look at the people that work inside of that organization, a lot of them will retire onto major pharma boards, making a ton of money.
I watched this op-ed. This documentary, or it's like a fake documentary about the drug industry the other day. And I was going to ask you about that. These guys all get they leave the CDC or the NIH, whatever. And where do they go?
To pharma. That's where they go. I mean, it happened in front of us with OxyContin.
Yes.
When the person that approved that label, that was the craziest approval ever, basically, saying it's not addictive. He went and he took a board seat with Purdue, making $500,000 a year.
You cannot make this up.
That's exactly how it works. It's crazy.
All right, Clint, tell me about your product, because I've tried it. I actually tried both, and I did the drops, right? But this I have, and again, if some people know from some of the other products that I talk about on the show, the shoes that I wear, etc. But my knees have been killing me. I've been going to physical therapy. I took this rub that you guys have.
Yeah.
And honest to God, it usually hurts me when I go to sleep. The muscle pains are unbelievable. And previously my doctor had prescribed something to me. And I thought, all right, I want to try the rub on the knee. I slept like a baby. It was like, I couldn't believe, normally I wake up and it aches and I've got to stretch it out or whatever. So walk me through what you guys offer to relieve the pain.
Yeah. So basically what I did was once I got through my research on Conolidine, how to extract it, how to create it, I went out and sought the best lab to produce it. So that was my because I'm a scientist. I'm not a marketer, right? So my thing was to find a brand that I could trust to roll this out to the public. And what I found was GDR Labs. So GDR Labs is located right where I am in Atlanta. It's about 15 minutes from my house. And what I love about their production facility is it's 100% American made. And that's something that's super, super important to me, because I can walk through, I can see that they're following the extraction procedures. It's all done here from A to Z. The ingredients are done here. The testing's done here. And it's shipped out right from that facility, because there's so many facilities, especially ones I've toured, that have multiple locations or overseas. You don't really know about the quality assurances. Right. And this is a product that is drug-free certified. It's GMP certified. It's given to professional athletes because of that ability. It's second to none as far as its production ability. So GDR is who produces it.
I love the fact that it's all in the United States, because I got a kick out of COVID. They send us a disease, and then our virus, and then we end up buying more and more of our pharmaceutical and our PPE from the same people. I mean, I'm like, what are we doing that we're relying on them? And so the idea that GDR Labs is here in Georgia, it's all made in the United States, I think means a lot. I know that you guys have a special offer for us, because we're talking about this today. Why don't you walk us through what we can do?
Sure. So GDR set up a private link, and it's trycono.com/Sean. And what they did is, it's easy to remember. And they slashed the price by $91. So it's essentially $1 a day, $29 per bottle for a very limited time. And the reason for that is we want to get the word out. We want people to try it.
I mean, that's less than the copay for probably a prescription.
Exactly. There's no reason not to try it. There's a 90-day money-back guarantee with it. And all I ask is we're really trying hard to get the word about Conolidine out. GDR Labs is the only company in the world that makes it. You can't find Conolidine anywhere else. They are exclusively the one that makes it. And we just want people talking about it. So if you're in pain or know someone who is in pain, please just tell them about what's out there, because you're right, there are options. And as we start talking about more as Americans, we're going to start to spread the word of things like this that exist.
Well, I can tell you right now, as someone who's used it on I could not believe, I thought maybe I'll get some relief. I've tried some CBD products in the past and some prescription drugs. This was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, boom. And I mean, to the point where I literally had gone to the doctor saying, I can't sleep at night because of the pain in the knee. I have a torn meniscus. And he was like, of course you got to go to PT. Here's a drug to get you through the night. Yeah. I don't like the prescription drugs for a lot of reasons. So when I tried this and I slept through the night, I was like, oh my goodness. So again, the link is tricona.com/Sean, right?
Yes. And one thing I want to add too is make sure that when you use it, it's a daily use product. So don't take it just when you're in pain. You can use the rub when you're in pain, but for the sublingual, use it every single day. Like, use it, just take it like you take vitamin C. It's a supplement, just like anything else. It builds in your system and just, it keeps your endorphin flow firing.
Well, that's the other thing, is that I got to make sure I keep taking it when it goes away, because I've noticed that it's subsided, and I've got to keep taking the drops every day, as well as the rubs. So I take the rub at night, the drops in the morning, and I'll be good to go. Clint, this has been awesome. I love the light that you have shed on this problem and the alternative that you've given us that our government and Big Pharma is not sharing with us. So thank you for doing that.
You got it. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet, guys. Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.